So this early Monday morning, July 13th. Good morning.
Cover television tapings tonight. He goes, no. Hello, so production meeting. Remember the American Dream Dusty Road. What are you doing in the production meeting? And I just shrugged my shoulders and I said, I'm learning from you. And it was that long moment of uncomfortable silence, and I'm thinking, oh man, they're going to throw me out of here. They're going to send me back to New York on a bus. I'm not going to even make my flight tomorrow because I'm going to have to leave now. Word's going to get back to the McMahons. I'm never going to be allowed to Madison Square Garden again. I'm done. I'm finished. I'm 17 years old. It was a nice run. And he says, well, you're learning from the right person because I've been mentioning down the road that I am a super genius. Now go back inside and keep on taking notes.
Wow. That is so good to hear.
I was going over the show and I could see him in the room, and he moved up a little bit to a chair along the wall on the side alleyway. Never asking questions, dial a pencil paper, taking notes. About the third week, he had moved up almost in my lap, and he went to school with a lot of different people. I just happened to be one. So that's what I mean from that movement up, being very aggressive of what he wanted to be and where he wanted to take his vision.
Pro Wrestling USA was running a 13-day tour in the New York, New Jersey area. And I was good friends with gorgeous Jimmy Garvin. There was a major charity event happening at the world's most famous nightclub, Studio 54 in New York City. And I called him up from the arena in New Jersey and said, hey, I have the star of a nationally televised professional wrestling show, gorgeous Jimmy Garvin, with me. I'd like to bring him into the studio and take pictures of him at this charity event. And the publicist said, that'd be wonderful, come on by. Now keep in mind the legal drinking age in New York is 21 at the time, and I'm 19 years old. So I bring Jimmy Garvin to Studio 54 in New York City, and I'm taking all these pictures of him, and it just so happens that on this particular night, the head photographer at Studio 54 got drunk off his tuchus and started throwing vodka bottles at the bartender, and they throw him out. And I look at the general manager and I say, wow, that's a very famous photographer. Now, what are you going to do here? And he says, I don't know. I said, well, if you're looking for a head photographer, I'm your guy. He says, really? Can you do that? Of course I can. Well, why can't I do it? Been doing it my whole life. And he said, great. You start tomorrow. The very next day, I was a photographer at Studio 54. So it's December of 1985, and the Palladium opens up on 14th Street in New York City. And this is going to be heavy competition for Studio 54. And most of the people behind the Palladium are former Studio 54 staffers. So they raid everybody from Studio 54. And the whole staff of Studio 54 is depleted, and everybody's jumped to the Palladium, kind of like the Monday Night War. So now there's a big void on Friday nights at Studio. They needed new promoters and new producers, and they're left in a lurch. So in August of 1985, I walk in and I say, hey, I can produce and promote Friday nights. You can? Sure. Why can't I? I've been doing it my whole life. And the first show I put together for the studio was Wrestle Party 85, the very first wrestling event I ever promoted. And I contacted Vince McMahon, and I wanted to give an award to Hulk Hogan. But they were on the West Coast that Friday, so I called Jim Crockett Promotions, and they happened to be in Philadelphia. So Crockett arranged for a private plane to fly Ric Flair and Dusty Rhodes and Magnum TA to New York City after the event in Philadelphia, so I could give an award